We'll just understand the Azure Application Gateway overview and what is the difference between an Azure load balancer and an application gateway, and what benefits we get from the Azure Application Gateway. So we see an application gateway is again a load balancer. So this is for only for HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Now the Azure Application Gateway cannot be used other than HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Like you want to load balance an FTP server or an SSH server or SFTP server or a database application or something else, but we cannot use an Azure Application Gateway. So what this application gateway, one of the primary function is a load balancer. So let's say user types an HTTPS //hrms.acutelearn.com, so where the request can be sent to the Azure Application Gateway, and where the Azure Application Gateway can send the request to the Azure App Services. So it can support an app services in the backend, or it can support a virtual Azure virtual machines running an HTTPS traffic, or a virtual machine scale sites, or another load balancers which are there internally. So the Azure Application Gateway can forward the traffic to the any of these kind of things or combination of it. So for an example, I took here the app services. So one of the primary function is to basically provide a load balancer for an HTTP or HTTPS traffic. The second major functionality is so this Azure Application Gateway is going to inspect the HTTP bar HTTPS traffic. So what does it mean by it? Now let's take a simple example that so when we enter into an office, we have an ID card. So initially, so first thing is okay, people will ask, hey, do you have an ID card? When we show an ID card, the security guard will not ask anything. He will simply allow us inside the office premises. But I'm carrying a laptop bag, but inside the laptop bag, I might have some kind of an unwanted or could be a dangerous items which I might be carrying it. But let's say security guard is not checking my bag, what I'm carrying inside the bag. He checked my ID card and allowed me inside. Then I entered into. But still, I can carry the dangerous items within my bag. So the Azure load balancer will simply forward the traffic to a backend servers. But whereas in a case of an Azure application gateway, it is going to inspect the HTTPS traffic. That does mean that, like a security guard asking you an ID card, once he sees that, okay, you are an authorized person, then he verifies that, okay, sir, can you show me your bag? I just want to check what you are carrying it. Then he checks inside the bag what I'm carrying it. Then if there are some kind of a dangerous items within that bag, then he can basically say that, sorry, sir, you're not allowed to carry this. Similarly, in web applications. So the crackers or hackers can send a dangerous request to the backend application or application servers, like a SQL injection kind of things, a malicious scripts, like an unauthorized access, some kind of lot of things where and crackers and hackers can send kind of a request and try to get the information from your application. So what this Azure Application Gateway does is, once it receives the traffic, it inspects that, hey, does this request has any kind of a SQL injection or kind of any malicious script which could be harmful to your application, or which where it can expose your data or anything kind of things, or any kind of an unauthorized access to this particular one. Then if it finds any kind of a dangerous activity, then the Azure Application Gateway can blocks it. So it can block that kind of a traffic before forwarding to your backend servers, which is serving the actual application. So in another terminology, we use a terminology called as a web application firewall. So the web application firewall is the role where it plays and inspects the traffic and takes the necessary actions based on the configurations. Okay. So that is the another feature where Azure Application Gateway supports. Okay. For this particular purpose, primarily all these applications will prefer to use an application gateway because it can protect the application from any kind of a malicious or a dangerous threats. And third kind of a feature, it distributes traffic based on the HTTP headers. So what is that header? In a normal load balancer, for every URL, you need a public IP address. So if I want to have deliver three different applications, then I need to have three different public IP addresses in a standard load balancer. Whereas in a case of an application gateway, the application gateway will listen on one single IP address based on the HTTP header, that is an URL. It could distribute the traffic to the backend servers or backend pools. So the application gateway can inspect, hey, does the request came for hrms.acutelearn.com or support.acutelearn.com? If the request has come for an hrms.acutelearn.com, then it can forward the packet to the respective backend servers which are being configured. Similarly, if the request has been received for a support.acutelearn.com, then it can forward to the respective backend servers which are being configured. So one of the good thing of Azure Application Gateway is we can have one public IP address and have a multiple URLs which can accept the request and forward based on the URL. The another one of the feature which is called as an distributes traffic based on URL path. So what does it is in? So I have www.acutelearn.com. I have www.acutelearn.com/HRMS. The /HRMS is a different application sitting on a different set of servers. /support is a different application sitting on a different set of servers. Now, three different applications running on three different set of servers. But the URL is the same. I would say called as in the domain name is the same, but the end path is different. So when a user types www.acutelearn.com, I want the request to go to a specific set of servers. When a user types /HRMS, then the request has to forward it to the respective server similarly. So in that kind of situations, Azure Application Gateway can take a decision based on the path. So it checks that, okay, www.acutelearn.com, we can forward the traffic to these set of servers which is running in the backend. If we have an URL with an /HRMS, then the request can be forwarded to another set of web servers. And if the request is having a /support, the request can be forwarded to a different set of servers. So the Azure Application Gateway can distribute the traffic based on the URL path. So that is again one good example of it. And other one is an redirects traffic to different URL. So what is this redirects the traffic to different URL? So when a user types www.acutelearn.com, I want to get redirect this to the another URL called as a www.ln.in where application is running. Maybe I purchased multiple domains. So if someone types an acutelearn.com, I want to redirect them to ln.in. If someone types ln.in, it has to go directly to the ln.in, or we might see some kind of an acquisitions and mergers where one company hires another company. Then we want to redirect a company's website to the new company website, like these kind of requirements. And this Azure Application Gateway can help you to redirect the traffic to a different URL. And another feature which provides Azure Application Gateway is an custom error messages. Custom error messages. So what is that custom error messages? Let me take a simple example. So I'm typing a slash called as an support. So when I type www.hrms.acutland.com/support, the application gateway sees the request is coming for hrms.acutland.com. There is no security threats. Let me forward to the web server. Now the request will be forwarded to the app service one. But this app service one found that there is no /support. Now what happens here now? The application does not have something called as a /support which serve this particular one. Now this web server returns an error saying that 404 page not found. A simple web server says that, okay, a error, a 404 page not found. Now this is the actual error message displayed by your application or your web server. Now what this Azure Application Gateway can does is then, hey, if this app services or this application provides any kind of an error, it can display a custom error message. Error message. Like I'm saying that, hey, sorry, the page you're looking is not available. Check the typo or the URL correct or the URL path. Now what I'm trying to do here now. Now when the Azure Application Gateway sees there is an error from the backend web servers, the application gateway can create a custom error message saying that, sorry, the page you're looking is not available. Check the typo or URL path. So I'm giving a proper error message to a user instead of giving an error 404 page found. That is one of the critical feature, again, an important feature which is provided by the Azure Application Gateway. So whenever we want to have some custom error messages now, for some reasons, okay, for some reasons these app services are down, we want to submit that the application you're trying to access is unavailable now for a maintenance time. Okay, can you please come back after some time? Sometimes we see that whenever there is a maintenance occurring, we see the maintenance pages coming up. So that kind of pages can be displayed using the custom error messages. So these are all the critical features where the Azure Application Gateway will provide. Then question comes here is okay, now what makes the difference between Azure Load Balancer and Application Gateway? So the Azure Load Balancer can distribute any TCP bar UDP traffic. Like you can load balance in 22 port number, 21 port number, SFTP or FTP or any other custom one. But Azure Application Gateway will only supports HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So the load balancer will not inspect any traffic, simply forwards the traffic to the backend web servers. And whereas the Azure Application Gateway can inspect and protect from the security threats. So every URL needs a dedicated IP address. If there are 5 different URLs which you want to distribute traffic and make an high availability, then you need 5 different public IP addresses. Whereas in Azure Application Gateway, so it listens traffic on a single IP address for multiple URLs. So you can have one single public IP address and Azure Application Gateway can do that. Cannot redirect the traffic based on path. So the load balancer will not support like /support should go to a different server. /HRMS should go to a different server. It doesn't support, whereas an application gateway can support it. And both the load balancer are specific to a region. So if the entire that region goes down for some reasons, the Azure Load Balancer or Azure Application Gateway cannot provide a high availability. So as long as that region is available, the Azure Application Gateway will be available or standard load balancer will be available. So based on the region, need of the requirement, so we can use either a standard load balancer or Azure Application Gateway. But the recommended isn't if you're really looking for and to secure your e-commerce applications or mission critical applications like business applications, then it is recommended to go with an Azure Application Gateway.